Welcome back, friends. Lost Guy here, and it's time for more Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, voice LP. Here's the thing. It's been 4 days since I played, because I got a bit throaty from some things. So, what the hell are these voices? It's me, Balloons. I am little German boy, and then, oh no, it's Austrian boy, and then Guinea. I'm something kind of Scottish and Irish. I'm a Scottish and Irish kind of voice. Yes, okay, alright, let's go. As I said, Balthazar Loon is no liar. Every balloon I had in the sky landed safely. All 3 of my balloons were carrying passengers. If they fell to the ground in an explosion, what a catastrophe. But you can't get away from the fact that a burnt-up bit of cloth was found at the scene, can you? The coppers at the yard reckoned it was probably some debris thrown from the explosion on the stage. This stupido ragazzo is mistaken. My balloons have the red and blue zigzag stripes anyway. Alright. Red and blue zigzag stripes. The assertion is that the balloon this child saw was not one belonging to you. See, extratamante. If he even saw a balloon in the first place. I do not like the sound of it. It is very bad for business. I have a good mind to sue the land of Bohemia. Oh, he's Bohemian, not Austrian. If you attack us, we will fight back. It will be war. Or not war. I still like money. What happened to all-out war? Mr. Loon certainly doesn't appear to be lying. But that doesn't change the fact that the testimony and evidence are contradictory here. If the defense is unable to find fault with the witnesses' statements, the court must consider them the truth. Think long and hard on that, my learned friend. The situation has clearly changed now. I have to get to the bottom of what happened here, no matter what it takes. Counsel, you may now cross-examine the witnesses. Okay. Yay. Yay. Alright. Here we go. Press. You couldn't just have forgotten one, maybe? How? Signor? I might not notice if I was given 100 lentils and one was missing. But we are talking about 3 enormous balloons. Do you believe I could make a mistake about something so grand and expensive? I took the liberty of having Inspector Gregson check this gentleman's warehouses. I have the report here. It clearly says a total of 3 balloons. It would appear no mistake has been made, then. Surely Mr. Straw could have been sent for such a menial task. What? Me? I'll tell you what I told the boss. Eastern kids like me can only count up to 2. Obviously that ain't true, but the boss bought it and said he had to go himself in that case. That's funny. It would be quite a catastrophe if they fell to the ground for any reason, I think. On that note, Mr. Loon, tell me, what is it that keeps these balloons in the sky? Are you an idiot? Sorry. That is like asking why does a candle burn bright? It burns bright because it burns bright, and the balloon flies because it flies. What else? That must be Italian for I don't know. There are 2 types of flying balloons, hot air balloons and gas balloons. Hot air balloons work on the principle of hot air being less dense than cold air, whereas gas balloons derive their lift by using a gas that is lighter than air. See, and my balloons are filled with the magic gas, I believe. Hydrogen, lighter than air, but highly explosive. Good lord! I do not permit smoking of the cigarettes in any of my balloons. The magic gas does not like fire. Even a small spark of static electricity could cause the entire balloon to explode. What is the matter with you, senor? All that comes out of your mouth is explosion, explosion! I tell you, my balloons are perfectly safe. They have to be, or I cannot eat. None of the balloons exploded that day. I am completely sure. But if you still say that it is what happened, you must show me the proof. Alright, so Mr. Loon had 3 balloons in the air that day. If none of them were damaged, then what was the one that exploded?
Hold it!
I was surprised to find the piece of fabric still at the scene, actually. Didn't you search the area surrounding the stage for clues? Nah, I'm not into picking stuff off the ground, not me. Always works out way better to dive into people's pockets instead. So much for the new career path. Mind you, the boss was on his hands and knees picking up all kinds of rubbish from the floor. Thing is though, the cage went crashing into the crystal tower, didn't it? That's where most of the investigation was going. Even so, I would have thought someone from Scotland Yard would have gathered it up as evidence. Oh, listen to you. You stumbled across a bit of balloon and suddenly you're the best investigator in the world. Pardon? Well, you ain't got a badge, have you? Look at this. I could arrest you with this if I wanted to. I wouldn't put it past her. Come to think of it, there was talk of some scorching on the ground at a meeting we had about the investigation. The cops at the yard reckoned there was probably some debris thrown from the explosion on the stage.
Hold it!
There was considerable damage to the stage and surrounding area, wasn't there? Yeah, some of the cops were watching the experiment were caught in the blast and injured. Good job the whole contraption didn't keel over, eh? I hadn't even considered that. It seems there was great panic after the incident occurred. Nevertheless, the police shouldn't have missed a torn piece of the envelope from a balloon. Inspector Gregson can expect repercussions. Like me swiping all his fish and chips, eh? The man's sole pleasure. None of this matters. Let's get a balloon envelope means nothing. Niente.
Hold it!
You mean the color is wrong? Si, senor. I do not have any green balloons in my warehouse. And yet a piece of green cloth is found at the scene, and it's unmistakably from a balloon. Well, I do not know how that can be. For the sake of argument, let's say that a green balloon did explode above the stage. You couldn't therefore conclude that it happened on the day in question. Why not? There have been recreational balloon flights over Hyde Park operating from before the Great Exhibition. One could have exploded on some earlier date. Unfortunate, as I'm sure you'd agree. Oh, but it wouldn't be cleaned up? You believe it may have been from some earlier balloon accident that predates the exhibition? Si, exactamente. As the senor says, it is not from one of my balloons. Clearly this little ragazzo from Bohemia is mistaken about what he saw. Oh, okay, we'll do that next time. If you come to my warehouse, you'll see my 3 bellissime balloons, all present and correct. I've already verified Mr. Loon's annual business reports, and he's had the same number of balloons for a year now. Well, as thorough as ever, Lord Von Zeeks, disarmingly so. In that case, is the young boy just imagining things? As I thought, Mr. Loon's testimony just doesn't quite add up. The young Bohemian boy claims to have seen another 4th balloon. But Mr. Loon vehemently denies the possibility. And it's hard to imagine the man in charge could be mistaken about the number that were in the air. Still, this inconsistency must tell us something, I'm sure. Let's see what the boy has to say. How did the kids say?
Excuse me.
Is something wrong, Master Gotts? Is Master Wilhelm Gottsrick Zsigmund Ornstein? It was on the tip of my tongue. Just something is very wrong. I know what I saw. There was a green balloon there. I swear it. I swear it all over Bohemia. You can speak as much bad language as you like, but it changes nothing. If you do not have evidence, Ragazzo, then I must tell your parents to punish you, eh? Perhaps we'll let the judge decide when it comes to punishment? Evidence? What is evidence? To give a simple example, young man. A photograph, for instance. Some tangible proof of what you claim. Well, why didn't you say so sooner? I have the photograph here. Good gracious! What? I had not been up on a balloon for a little while, so I was very excited. I took lots and lots of photographs. Oh snap, of the Crystal Tower, and the Bohemian exhibit of the streets of London, of the Hotel Il Zeller, is a balloon. And the instantaneous kinesis experiment? Did you take a picture of that? Yeah, a phone picture. Really? You did take one? But all I wanted was a balloon ride in a balloon. I was not interested in boarding experiments. Never mind that. Can you show us that photograph? Of course. And then you will see. You will see that I am not lying. That I really did see a green balloon. Doesn't tell us anything. Well, I see you are all too shocked to speak. Yes, I think shocked is indeed the word, young man. Yeah, perhaps you cannot see that it was a green balloon from this photograph, but that is not my fault! That is the fault of the stupid person who made the camera! That is one very Bohemian sounding cry. Very well, the court will accept this photograph as evidence. Photograph of the balloon has been entered in the court record. A photograph taken by Guts whilst he was riding in a balloon. It shows another balloon that he claims was green and exploded moments after he took this shot. It's not my fault. It's the fault of the person who made the camera. Well, never mind. I'm sure you have plenty of wonderful sepia memories to take home with you. In any case, when exactly did you take that photograph? Well, it was on the day of the big explosion. You don't say. When I pressed the shutter release, there was this very loud bang. And a hot wind rushed over my face. Huh? That means this photograph was taken a split second before the explosion occurred. Well, if you ask me, this black and white photograph changes nothing. I could not give the flying fig. Lovely language you picked up. Take a look at the evidence. See him pull the thing, and we see something you shut up at the balloon, and there's nothing in the balloon. What we see from this is there's a crowd of people, something's getting shut up. Dude's pulling the lever, guy's in that thing. Someone shot a balloon? The key thing here, here's a balloon with no passengers, right? So we'll try that. We'll try it here.
Objection.
Because here's a balloon with no passengers. Unfortunately, the photograph Master Guts took us can't tell us the color of the balloon, but it can tell something else. Something crucially important. What? It shows that the pictured balloon wasn't carrying any passengers. Oh, my goodness, you're right. But surely all the balloons would have been carrying passengers. There would be no sense in it otherwise. See, they are for pleasure, for seeing the view. My balloons only fly with passengers. Which tells us that the pictured balloon isn't one of them. So when the incident occurred that day, there was a fourth balloon in the skies above the experimentation stage. A mysterious green balloon. I know nothing. I only tell you one thing. I can only tell you one thing. If this balloon was not carrying passengers, then it was not one of mine. Look at his head. There are illegal tradesmen everywhere you care to look. Clearly, one such entrepreneur decided to capitalize on the opportunity presented by the Great Exhibition. I managed to operate balloon flights on Mr. Loon's patch without him realizing. See, the competition, trying to steal my profits. I did not notice because of the experimento that went wrong on the stage. This fourth balloon exploded at the very same moment Mr. Asman was beamed from the stage below. Right. So them scraps that fell to the ground after I left them scorch marks. They didn't come from the stage at all. It was bits of the balloon running down. But because no one was in it, it didn't get no attention. A mysterious fourth balloon carrying no passengers, silently floating over the experimentation stage.
Objection.
This photograph shows us nothing. A stray balloon carrying no one and operated by some rogue trader. Clearly it has nothing to do with the case. Its relevance does elude me, I must say. The court has seen sufficient evidence and heard ample testimony already. The prosecution calls for this trial to be concluded. Ah. Okay. Really? Have we really got to the truth yet? No, I can't let this opportunity slip away. The jurors' minds are made up, and not in our favor. What else can this photograph tell us? Is there nothing more we can learn from it? There's more! Right there!
Objection.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, wait! Please don't give your decisions yet. The photograph from Master Guts may well be hiding one more vital clue. What's that? A vital clue?
Objection.
We're well past the point of mere possibilities. It's time for definitives now, so tell the court. What exactly does this alleged clue in the photograph prove? The cause of the explosion. We can reasonably assume that the pictured balloon was destroyed in the searing heat of the explosion. Yeah, that's right, yeah. It was not my fault. Evidently, because the birdcage from the kinesis machine materialized in the sky where it had been flying. And the balloon, being filled with flammable hydrogen, instantly and explosively ignited.
Objection.
No, that's not what happened. What? It would appear that this photograph requires closer examination. Counsel for the defense, we will highlight the location of this alleged clue in the photograph for the court. Of course, my lord. If you look closely, it's plain enough to see. And what's shown is linked to another piece of evidence we have. In a way, that leads to an unbelievable conclusion. The clue that heavily suggests the real reason the balloon exploded is... right effing here.
Take that.
The timing of this photograph can only be described as miraculous. If you look, you'll notice there's a bright white line that appears to point directly at the balloon. Most likely a ray of light caught incidentally on the film. I'm afraid I can see nothing of the sort. If you look into a magnifying glass, my lord, it becomes clear what the nature of this bright light really is. Goodness, what is that? Undeniably some flash of light, yes. Oh golly, do you think it might be lightning? But it couldn't have been a finer day. I believe we may be looking at fire. A bolt of fire, heading straight for the balloon, like an arrow. Like an arrow! There, that's better. Indeed, even to my aging eyes, it would appear to be a flame of some sort. My word, are you suggesting this flame struck the hydrogen gas that filled the balloon?
Objection!
That's absurd. The balloon would have been 60 feet above the ground at the time. No flame could possibly have reached such a height.
Objection!
Actually, it's my opinion that a particular piece of evidence found at the scene reveals how that is exactly what did happen. What evidence? If such evidence exists, Counsel, then for goodness sake, present it, man. Which evidence explains this mysterious streak of flame that appears to be headed directly for the balloon? This crossbow.
Take that!
This was found hidden at the foot of a small ornamental tree near the scene. Good lord, is that a crossbow? An arrow dipped in oil and set alight could have been shot from this weapon, sending a flaming arrow straight into the hydrogen-filled balloon. Are you suggesting that crossbow was used deliberately? Blimey, right. That streak of light in the photo looks just like an arrow, doesn't it? Then the explosion of the balloon, it was... very likely the result of a flaming arrow from this crossbow igniting the hydrogen gas inside. Ooh. Order, order. Counsel, this is an extraordinary supposition. If the aim was to cause the balloon to explode, the shooter could have used a gun, of course. However, there's an obvious reason why they would have been out of the question. The noise of the discharge, of course. That's right. By using a crossbow, the projectile could be fired at the balloon silently. Well, yeah, if someone had shot a gun off in the exhibition grounds, it would have caused a real panic. That was a bad voice there. But with the big explosion, there was a very big panic anyway, no? I don't like this. I should be pleased I found a plausible new explanation for all this, but something feels wrong.
Objection!
Do you understand the implications of what you're saying, my Nipponese friend? If a flaming arrow did indeed hit the balloon, then obviously it would have been exploded. And if the birdcage appeared from the clouds of smoke that ensued... What? Wait a minute. What are you really saying here? I don't get it. Was the birdcage beamed up into the sky after all? Or what? My goodness me. Ah, now I understand. That's what that sinking feeling is about. I think there's a good chance that the birdcage was actually concealed inside the balloon all along. That's what I was thinking. What? Did I just hear that correctly, Counsel? There's no going back now. The horse is bolted. Let's assume, as I said, that the birdcage was hidden inside the green balloon from the start. On stage, when the experiment was started, the birdcage and the instantaneous kinesis machine disappeared in a cloud of smoke. At that moment, the flaming arrow was fired from the ground, causing the green balloon to explode and drawing the attention of the spectators to the sky above their heads. From amid the smoke, the hidden birdcage then appeared to fall down and crash into the Crystal Tower. I think you'll all agree it's entirely plausible. that what I've just described is the real truth behind the miraculous experiment carried out that day. Good grief.
Objection!
This is ludicrous. What you've described is no science experiment. It's child's play, a contemptible display of stage magic. Both Mr. Sholmes and Iris said that the experiment was a scientific impossibility. In which case, this is the only way to explain what happened that day. And in any case, the victim's body was found inside the birdcage in the Crystal Tower. If the instantaneous kinesis didn't take place, how do you explain that? If I may put in a word, as a man of magic myself, such an apparent discrepancy can easily be explained by some simple deceptions. Juror number 3? All that would be needed is a doppelganger, someone who looked very similar to the victim, Mr. Asmund. And having this other man appear on the stage in front of the show as a body double. Ah, yes, of course. So in fact, Mr. Asmund must have been inside the birdcage that was concealed inside the balloon right from the start.
Objection!
That balloon would have been filled with hydrogen. Anything hidden inside it would have been scattered to the four winds when it exploded. No one would ever have embarked on such a risky venture. Not necessarily. The explosive force of the balloon gas would have very much depended upon the mixture ratio. Juror number 4? I like how they're wingmanning for him. Flying balloons are rarely filled with pure hydrogen, but a mixture of other gases such as helium as well. Helium on its own doesn't explode, but by controlling the gas mixture ratio, the explosive force can be altered. The mixture ratio? Obviously, the victim's body would have suffered some burns that would be unavoidable. But not to such an extent as to render this whole obscene charade impossible. So everything that happened can be explained, logically and scientifically. The explosion that engulfed the stage at the start of the experiment was no accident. It was all part of an elaborate deception, to make it appear that instantaneous kinesis had occurred. Well, goodness me. And if we accept that this was what happened, it means that the victim, Mr. Asmund, was never present on the public experimentation stage to begin with. In short, he couldn't have been killed by the defendant who was on stage in full view the entire time. This will be very hard for the prosecution to counter. But Lord Von Zeke can't credibly maintain that Professor Harebrain is a suspect now. Oh, here comes Harebrain. Yeah, here he is. Mr. Naruhodo, I appreciate your efforts, thank you. But, Professor? But you can stop now. Just keep your mouth shut, please. Sorry? What's all this about, Mr. Harebrain? I, Albert Harebrain, hereby confess that it was me. Was that Mr. Odie Osmond? Yes, it was me, with my faithful friend and partner, Andrew the Screwdriver. What? What are you doing? It's the only way to make the kinesis still work out. Order, order, order. Defendant, explain the sudden confession.
Objection!
Professor Harebrain, what are you talking about? It's what I've said all along. I must protect my hypothesis and my precious machine. You stand there and claim it was all a trick, all an elaborate prank, but where's your proof? No, you'd have to examine the machine if you wanted to prove it, but then it would all be over. My beautiful hypothesis would be laid bare. I mean, the indignity of it. It's clear that you drew the plans for the experiment, but you didn't actually build it. It's quite conceivable that you were duped, Professor. If you'll just let me, I can prove... Barrick! Yes? I'll cooperate. I'll do whatever you say, I swear it. So please. Ensure the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act is adhered to, and protect my creation. Pray forgive the discourtesy of filling my hallowed chalice at this critical juncture. Here's to my learned Nipponese friend. What? And his upcoming attempt to clarify the defense's position in the light of the accused's confession. Ah! Do you intend to formally assert that the experiment was nothing more than a conjuring trick? Because the moment you do, the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act that protects the professor's invention will cease to apply. The prosecution will then demand a rigorous examination of the machinery involved in order to establish the truth. Well, since it's bunkum, why not? However, if you acknowledge that the machine is genuine and instrumental in the victim's murder, any chance of investigating will be crushed, and the confidentiality of the professor's hypothesis preserved. Well, Counsel, what is the defense's official position on this matter? F for Hairbrain. What Professor Hairbrain, my client, actually asked of me was to prove that the explosion on stage was an accident and protect the secrecy of his hypothesis. But there's no way to do that without implying the professor's guilt. Do I protect my client's life by asserting his innocence, or do I uphold my client's request but see him condemned? Either way, I can't avoid betraying his trust. You've been silent long enough. Isn't talking your trade, my learned friend? What's wrong button? Or has all knowledge of English escaped your confused Nipponese mind? Mr. Naruhodo! There's no escape here. I have to make a choice. But it's an impossible one. I have to give up on something, but what? The defense asserts that the defendant's instantaneous kinesis machine was in fact. Here's the problem, though. Maybe it was scientific invention. The problem is someone else misused it. That's the problem I'm trying to figure out here. So how do I say that? No, conjuring trick. Conjuring trick, don't work. Because that's what the balloon's about. Ah! No, I can't see it. My client places faith in me. I can't just let him down. Fuck him. F him. What must I give up on? It's not the question you have to ask yourself here. It's what can I protect? Wait, what? That's what she says? What must I give up on? It's not the question you have to ask yourself here. It's what can I protect? Hello again, Mrs. Naruhodo. It's been far too long. Did she get here, or is he seeing hallucinations? Susato-san! But what are you? My first Susato takedown in 6 months. There'll be time to talk later, Miss Naruhodo. For now, we must concentrate on the task at hand. Which is working out not what I have to give up on, but what I can protect. Alright, you know, that floor must have effed his back up, by the way. Professor Hairbrain! Huh, yes? Yesterday you told me that science is the pursuit of truth. Well, my job is to pursue the truth too. Yes, of course. And personally, I believe that you didn't stab Mr. Asman. I think you've come to realize something yourself too, haven't you? That your experiment and the machine you built with the victim are questionable. The truth behind that is what we must both pursue now. Ah! So, you finally opened your eyes. What? And as for you, Albert, you can't ignore this any longer. Ah. Having heard my learned friend's assertion, don't you have something to say? Beric? Lord Von Zeeks? Gosh, I've never heard him speak that way before. In truth, there is one thing, something I've remembered that's of relevance. What? On the day it happened, just before I began the experiment, I saw a man near the stage. A man holding that crossbow. I beg your pardon? Professor! Did the man have any distinguishing features? What did he look like? Taller than me, and thin. Thinner than me, with straight hair, straighter and whiter than mine. Let me see. One less lens than me, too. A monocle, a rather stylish black monocle. But one thing in particular would help to positively identify the man, you see. I know him very well. After all, he's the engineer who built my machine. What? He built the machine? That's right. Mr. Asman introduced him to me a year ago. He's a man by the name of Enoch Drebber. Enoch Drebber? Does this name mean something? Members of the jury seem flustered. Not a name any scientist wishes to hear. That man's an abomination. Not a name any conjurer wishes to hear either. Who on earth is he? I'm afraid this isn't the first tale of this nature that I've heard in scientific circles in connection with that name. There's talk of other flamboyant experiments that turn out to be nothing but state trickery in the end. Obviously, the rascals after the government's research grant money. When magicians are in need of money, I have heard of them resorting to these underhand tactics. Some acquaintances of mine with experience of such things have mentioned Enoch Drebber's name before. The man is both an engineer and a magician. Yes, we're dealing with an unparalleled confidence trickster here. That's Enoch Drebber for you. Okay. Probably gonna get a break right here. So it's true then. My invention, my great machine, it is just a grand illusion. Considering what we've just heard about Mr. Drebber's character, I'm sorry to say that sounds increasingly likely. Even though no one else believed it, I wanted to. I wanted to believe that machine would function exactly as my hypothesis predicted. Which is why you were so opposed to it being investigated, I presume. I knew that if the machine was examined in detail, its construction would give away my hypothesis. Obviously, I didn't want that to happen, but at the same time, I knew that if it was found to be nothing more than a trick, than a work of deception, then everything I'd worked towards, all my research, all my dreams, my whole life would be over. I was terrified at the prospect. So you really had no idea then, did you? About the true nature of the machine that was built? and the true nature of Mr. Draper. I never questioned anything. I didn't want to question it. It's entirely possible that Mr. Asmund and Mr. Draper were working together to use you as a means of fraudulently acquiring the research grant money. When I announced my invention to the crowds that day, it was the funnest moment of my career. I pulled all the levers and turned all the dials in exactly the way Draper had described. When the smoke suddenly started billowing out, I panicked. I didn't know what was happening. But I really don't know how the whole illusion was made to work. I don't know anything anymore. Let me confirm one final point with you, Professor. Do you now consent to the prosecution submitting the necessary paperwork to release your invention from the protection afforded by the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act? Yes, please go on ahead. Please go ahead. I'm very sorry. It would appear that we shall have to suspend proceedings for the remainder of the day now. Lord von Zieks. My lord, the court has newly been made aware of another party whose involvement in this matter is critical. Yes, Mr. Draper. Gather information about the man. If possible, I should like him served with a subpoena. With pleasure, my lord. Now, counsel for the defense. Yes, my lord. When we reconvene, I shall be looking for one thing and one thing alone from you. Evidence that the defendant is innocent of the crime for which he presently stands accused. I understand. Good. In that case, this court is adjourned until tomorrow morning. Time for presents. Alright, to be continued? No? Well, we're gonna stop there. Alright, so that's it for now. Go have me a stretch. I had fun up here from watching. Those was up, I wasn't having fun. Thanks for coming by, and see you next time.